Hi, CMattDye. Thanks for stopping by and checking out today's video. Hopefully you're having a great day. Today I want to talk about the Liqwid Finance protocol. They're a DeFi project I've been watching for a very long time. This is the project behind the Aqua Farmers. If you're not familiar, maybe you live under a rock or something. And they've been touting the 4x staking yields since inception, basically. You can lend your ADA, you can borrow, farm, and stake. So that's what they're touting, and it's pretty cool. The mainnet literally just went live a few hours ago, and this came out 12 hours ago. That's when the mainnet went live, February 2nd, which is today. They talk about it, thanks for your support, blah, blah, blah. They have 16 different stake pools. So whenever you're getting that staking yield, they're coming from one of these 16 stake pools. If we scroll down, this is the different parameters here. So the QADA mint burn fee is going to be 0. The ADA minimum to lend or borrow is going to be 100. QADA staking fee is going to be 0. The max LTV or collateral factor is going to be 75%. Basically what that means is you're going to be able to supply your ADA. So you hit supply. Right now they're offering 1.29%. This is the mainnet right here. You get 1.29%, but then you also get your staking fee as well added to that. So that's what you get right now. You get your staking and your supply or your lending, whatever you want to call this. And then you can borrow, and whenever you borrow, you get QADA. So lending, let's say you want to lend 5,000 ADA, you get a bunch of QADA. Well, that QADA, once you get that ADA back, gets burnt. So that's what happens with that QADA. But once you lend your ADA, you get that QADA, and whenever you borrow, you have to put up that QADA as your collateral. And depending on how much you put up, that is your net APY. That gives you this number up here. So if we go down, that's what you basically lend your ADA. So you're lending it, you automatically get credit for staking. So those two you get credit for, and then you borrow. If you want to borrow, you can borrow up to 75%. I don't recommend borrowing exactly 75%. Usually you want to borrow a little bit less, because what is ADA price going to do? Is it going to go higher? Is it going to go lower? Is it going to stay the same? All of those are factors that should weigh in on your decision. And then eventually farming is going to come. And speaking about farming, let's jump in here and talk about the collective zap-in that's going to happen on February the 7th at 3 a.m. UTC and 11 p.m. Eastern. So that's what time it's going to happen. It's the launch pool on MinSwap. So MinSwap has a liquid staking pool, and that's what this is going to do. It's going to bootstrap liquidity, basically, is what it is meant to do. And the ADA LQ liquidity pool on MinSwap via collective zap-in or CZI. And it's going to happen February 7th. It's going to be 3% of the LQ token supply. It's going to be distributed to the participants. The proceeds generated from the CZI will be retained on the MinSwap DEX and be used to bootstrap Liqwid's ADA market liquidity. An additional 1% of the LQ token supply is going to be reserved as rewards for LP farming to create strong liquidity provisions, blah, blah, blah. What is a CZI? We just talked about it. The key highlights. Liquid Finance can use MinSwap CZI to acquire protocol-owned liquidity, or POL, and grow their liquidity on MinSwap. By supplying ADA, participants are essentially providing liquidity for the ADA LQ pair at market price the moment the CZI ends. Participants become liquidity providers of the ADA LQ pool and can farm their LP tokens. Since the ADA LQ pair will be open to trading throughout this event, this means it will be up to the market to determine the ratio price at which the ADA LQ liquidity pool tokens are received. And then they have a pre-launch timeline for the CZI, which I'm kind of excited about, and I wanted to highlight that as well. So they're going to have a Twitter space on Monday, February the 6th at 14 UTC. Liqwid Finance and MintSwap Labs will hold that Twitter space and discuss this CZI. That's going to be interesting. If you have any questions, get on that space, ask them, get in Liqwid's Discord, and ask them as well. Then you're going to have the zap-in phase, and that's going to basically happen 7 days on February 7th, which is actually more like 5 days from now. Participants can supply ADA to the CZI and receive LQ ADA. This LQ ADA will not be redeemable until after the CZI has finished and can then be used to claim the resulting ADA LP tokens. You're going to have your counter phase, which is on February 14th, which is any bit that's left over, basically. They're going to deal with that. A total of 630,000 LQ tokens, or 3%, is what they're talking about. And then that extra 1% is going to be 210,000 tokens. So that's kind of cool. This talks about the tokenomics a little bit, like where they're going and stuff like that. I like them. They're pretty good. If we go into the chart, we can see there's 21 million total supply. So after all the LQ is on the market, it's going to add up to 21 million, which is a very small number, especially for DEX that everyone's excited about. The Aqua Farmers floor has stayed high since inception, including inside of this bear market that we're in right now. So if we look at the chart here, we had a all-time low here November 24th. Then we had another one over here on January 3rd. And now we're having another one today, and a big one. It broke the lows and it's just cratering. Why is that happening? Well, logically it shouldn't, but we have different market dynamics, herd psychology. If we look at that, the reason is there's going to be a lot more tokens released to the public. There's going to be about 33,000 per epoch now until 21 million's out. That's a lot of supply coming onto the market. People are fearful. They're dumping. That gives us an opportunity. I talked about this in my Discord earlier. It's not a trade recommendation because it just made a new low, and most likely after it makes a new low, it's going to continue making lows. That's just common practice for markets. However, I don't think it's going to go too much lower from here. Right now it's at 30. It's made a low so far of 29.60. It probably will drop a little bit more into the 20s. I think that's going to be very interesting to watch. And then we have that CZI on the 7th. How many people are going to scoop up more Liqwid token to be able to participate in that? That's going to be very interesting to see. And then after it's over with, are we going to see some more dumping? That could be a thing. But I think overall, this is a pretty good protocol. And if we look at this, right now you can lend, stake, you can borrow, and then you can put whatever you borrow straight into that farm. And it seems pretty good to me. And then you can get an extra amount on top of that. So I think it looks pretty good. But, it has made a new low. It's probably going to continue. So it's going to be interesting. February 7th is when it begins. So it's going to be interesting to see the different strategies. Watch it come down a little bit more, and then in a few days maybe buy some. Or do you pick up a little bit now and then pick up some more in a few days because maybe you think it's going lower? So a lot of strategy involved here. It will be very, very interesting. At 30, it's a pretty decent deal, but if it can get below 20, it's even better. So with that, if you have any thoughts, share them in the comments. I definitely would enjoy the conversation. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you around the crypto markets. Take care.